This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist CJ Cartledge.
And good morning, everyone. I'm First Alert Meteorologist CJ Cartledge here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown for this morning. I hope you guys had a great start to your day. And today we're going to be talking about what we're going to be seeing through the next couple of days, which is dry weather. For the most part, we have some slight rain chances on our Thursday here, which we'll also discuss here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdowns. But we're going to be diving into the details on burn bans, on elevated fire danger, and as well as many things that you should do to protect yourself from any types of wildfires that may start, and any types of things that you can do to prevent wildfires from starting here. So it may be a pretty bit of a dry forecast here. Shout out Kennedy for that joke that she said before hopping onto the stream here. But she was, yeah, we were just joking around about that. But it's not going to be a dry forecast of what you may be talking about here. It's definitely going to be fun to discuss here, and you might learn something. So let's dive into a little bit of the details here. We're going to start off with a live look outside through our KSLA tower camera, sponsored by Winter World, overlooking in the northern portion of the Arklatex by Texarkana. As you can see, some of the most of the trees out there are still not dealing with any leaves starting to grow right now, since we're still in the winter season, heading towards the end of the month of February. But it looks dry out there. It definitely looks dry, and it's going to be dry through the next couple of days, as well as temperatures will be rising back above the average for this time of year. We're finally out of the woods in terms of the cold and freezing temperatures that we saw through the past couple of mornings here, and temperatures will finally reach back above the average by the time we reach this afternoon here. But there's an elevated risk for fire danger for today, once again, across the entire Arklatex here, mainly due to southwesterly winds. I have to adjust that there, but winds will be coming out of the south throughout the daytime hours for today and into tomorrow as well, mainly due to a warm front moving through the Arklatex. Wind gusts could get up to 30 miles per hour here. So we could definitely get gusty out there with relative humidity being less than 25%. So there's not going to be much moisture out there in the atmosphere to combat these dry conditions that we are going to be dealing with through the next couple of days. Cooler and drier air finally set into the Arklatex as a result of that colder air mass rolling through, and that brought gusty winds throughout the weekend here. We're expected to still remain under dry conditions as this high pressure system moves east of the Arklatex and out of our hair, but we should still possibly deal with a bit of some cloud cover as well as this high pressure system moves east, and potentially another low pressure system moves in by the later part of the work week. But yes, we're going to be dealing with southwesterly winds throughout the daytime hours, not northwesterly. That was for yesterday and throughout the past weekend here. But the wind direction turns to coming out of the south throughout today. And actually, I'm going to show you guys how gusty it may get as we move through the daytime hours today. So here's a look at one of our graphics. This is future track wind gusts here. I'm going to put this full screen so you guys can see the full picture here of what I'm talking about. As you can see, we will be dealing with the gusts getting up to around 30 miles per hour. We could see some wind gusts getting up to around 31 to maybe up to 35 miles per hour at the most here. I would say that cap looks to be at around 35 miles per hour. And that looks to be a pretty strong wind gust. And it's going to be enough to blow off your hats out there. So make sure to hold on to them as you're going about your day. But the breeziest conditions, or the windiest conditions, will be over in our East Texas portions, as you can see by the red colors there on the screen. But most of us, in terms of wind gusts, may range between around 25 to 30 miles per hour at the most. East Texas could see wind gusts up to around 35 miles per hour throughout the daytime hours today. But it's still expected to remain gusty ahead as we move into the overnight hours for tonight. In the upper levels, we will be seeing northerly winds, but at the southerly levels, or the southern levels, southern levels of the atmosphere, we should be seeing southerly winds, winds mainly coming from the south and impacting the Arklatex from southern Texas and southeastern Texas as well. We should be receiving more warmer air from those portions south of the Arklatex here through the next couple of days. And as you can see, moving into the early morning hours for Wednesday, we may see some less breezy conditions in the far northern portions of the Arklatex, but we can still see gusty winds over in East Texas. waking up and heading out the door on Wednesday, and still those southerly winds look to pretty much intensify once again, moving through the afternoon hours on our Wednesday. That's going to allow for temperatures to rise well into the 70s and some even the lower 80s across the region here. We may not see less breezy conditions until we hit the afternoon or maybe even the evening hours on our Thursday. As you can see, wind gusts could possibly get even higher as we move into Thursday during the daytime hours. That's mainly due to a low pressure system rolling through the Arctic and bringing a couple of isolated showers for the region. We're also going to be diving into those details in just a second here. Here's a look at the current burn bands across the Arctic. I believe we're missing just one here, so I'm going to adjust that for you guys real fast here. Bossier Parish is actually under a burn ban as of right now, which I will put there on the screen for you all to see. But also, in addition to Bossier Parish here is Caddo Parish, as well as DeSoto Parish, Wynn Parish, also in portions outside of Louisiana here, Miller, Lafayette County in southwestern Arkansas, and Red River, Bowie, Marion, and Harrison counties are all under burn bans until further notice here. We shouldn't see much rainfall through the next few days ahead of us here. As you can see there on the screen, these are the updated burn bans across the Arctic, and they show pretty much that you should not do any types of outdoor burning. It's prohibited due to this burn ban here. So here, look at some fire weather precautions here, just so you guys can understand what we can expect through the next couple of days and what you can do to prevent, or try your best to prevent any kinds of human-caused wildfires out there. Make sure to avoid any type of explosive materials. Do not park or drive over tall grass, as the exhaust and the heat from your car or truck could bring about some wildfires or could spark a fire, mainly due to how dry it is. And if you think about it, if the heat from your car is enough fuel, if the heat from your car is enough fuel to start a fire out there, that just tells you how dry it is out there around the Arctic. It's pretty hard to start a fire if you think about it, and just the heat from your car can start a fire. If that's the case here, which is the case, mainly due to the excessive amount of burn bans here around the Arctic, then you'll definitely want to take notice of that and make sure to take these precautions very, very seriously, and make sure to not do them or do them. Or what things you should do is dispose of cigarettes properly. Things you should not do is park over or drive over tall grass, and make sure to avoid any explosive materials. I believe, if I'm not mistaken here, I think I had mentioned that there was a burn ban. That was not the graphic I wanted. There was a burn ban for Hempstead County. So I will go ahead for this point and add that back onto the burn ban map. I believe somebody in one of my Facebook posts was talking about how Hempstead County was also under a burn ban for today, and I did double check, and that is true. So Hempstead County up there in southwestern Arkansas is also under a burn ban until further notice. I just double checked with the sheriff's office over in Hempstead County. So, yes, they will be under a burn ban also until further notice. But also, mixed in with these windy conditions and the dry weather that we can expect here, these drought conditions aren't giving us any types of grace with these with what's ahead for us and with what's going on here. Most of the area is dealing with either severe drought or moderate drought, excuse me. And some areas are even dealing with extreme drought up there in the far northwestern portions of the Arctic, over in northeastern Texas, as well as in McCurtain County. And also portions of, I just looked at there, portions by DeQueen, just east of DeQueen. I believe that's in, if I'm not mistaken, that's, let's go back to I don't know exactly which county that is. That is severe. No, it's Howard County. Howard County is what county that is now dealing with extreme drought. In that little red circle that you see there just to the east of DeQueen, that's northern portions of Howard County, also under extreme drought right now due to the latest drought update, which was last Thursday. And surprisingly, with all the rainfall we saw on Valentine's Day, that wasn't enough to eliminate some drought conditions around the Arctic, or at least help it out a little bit. especially in the northern portion of the Arklatex, but they saw over 2 inches of rain by DeQueen from that Valentine's Day system that rolled through. But Idabel and Mount Pleasant and areas surrounding there are also under extreme drought right now. Shreveport Bossier are under moderate drought, which is level 2. That's that tan color on the screen. And portions like Magnolia and Nacogdoches, ranging all the way into Nacogdoches and Natchitoches in the far southern portion of the Arklatex, dealing with severe drought as of right now. That's that orange color that you see there on the screen. But that seems to line up with the amount of rain that we've seen so far this year, and it's only been around 7.39 inches. Actually, on the dot. Well, 7.39 inches has been recorded for Shreveport Bossier, at least, has been recorded throughout the year so far. That's since January 1st. And for the month, we've only received around 1.36 inches of rain here, which is 2 inches shy of the normal for this time of year. So we are expected to be, at this time of year, at around 3.4 inches for the month. But we're 2 inches short of that. And for the year, we're only just around a half an inch or just less than a half an inch shy of that normal, of that average for this time of year. So we're expected to be at around or just short of 8 inches for today. And as you can see by the departure from normal, only around a half an inch is the difference between where we're standing in terms of rainfall for the year and where we should be for this time of year. So we're in the negatives in terms of where we are right now. We need more rainfall. And through the next couple of days here, we could see a slight chance for rain, which is also due to our next weather maker here that I'm about to show on the screen. As you can see, this low pressure system, excuse me, will be moving in from the west here and expected to move through the Arklatex on our Thursday. So Thursday, we have some slight rain chances for you guys around the Arklatex. And it shouldn't bring much rainfall, but it should bring a little bit of some rain for us here around the Arklatex. There's no severe threat associated with it, so thankfully, that is the case here. Light rain is possible, and it should bring us a slight cool down here around the Arklatex. So temperatures are only expected to drop into the lower 70s out there for highs after reaching the upper 70s and lower 80s. But overall, not much rain is expected, and you can see by this rainfall forecast here, and it's only going to be tracing along the far eastern portions of the Arklatex, mainly up to around 1/10 of an inch at the most here for our eastern half of the region. We could see some rainfall as far east as around I-49. I would say mainly areas around I-49 and eastward are going to see that rainfall across the Arklatex that may fall. May or may not fall across the region here. We still have only a slight rain chance for that day on Thursday, and more than likely will be during the morning hours here. Actually, let's look into long range future track just to show you guys exactly what may be going on here in terms of this Thursday coming up. This low pressure system will be moving along a cold front, ranging all the way from the far northeastern portions of the country here, all the way down towards the Arklatex as we move into our Thursday during the daytime hours. As you can see, during the morning hours, we could see some slight rain chances around the region. The darker colors that you see on the screen, or darker green colors there, are slightly higher rain chances, I would say between 30 and 40%. And as we move towards the afternoon, little to no rain is expected, but we should definitely see more rainfall far to the east of the Arklatex, more than likely Mississippi and portions of northeastern Louisiana. And heading into the evening hours, that's when that front finally moves out of the Arklatex, and cooler and drier air will be settling in once again as we move into our Friday here. So that's what's expected here through the next couple of days. Or at least through our Thursday. That's what I just showed you. But throughout today and throughout tomorrow, temperatures will be on the rise, back above the average for this time of year. Even lows will be only dropping into the 50s as compared to the 30s and 20s, like what we saw for today. So we're dealing with a quick warm-up due to a warm front moving in from the south and west here. So warmer conditions are on the way. We're going to be diving into, in just around 2 minutes, the details of what we can expect through the next couple of days ahead of us here. We're going to give you guys a live picture of satellite and radar and just showing you guys a picture of what's going on right now and what we can expect through the next couple of days leading up to this next weather maker rolling through the Arklatex. So we're going to be back in just around 2 minutes, and I will see you guys then. And good morning, everyone, and welcome back. So let's dive into the details of what's going on here around the Arklatex for today. We're looking at radar and satellite right now. We are seeing a bunch of mess over there in the far northwestern portions of the country, dealing with a little bit of some rainfall, maybe even a little bit of some snow in the higher elevations. But that big blue H that you see there on the screen is a large high pressure system that is actually weakening as of right now. As you can see, some clouds are moving into that high pressure system, and more than likely when you see a strong high pressure system there will be a large area of just clear and calm weather, but it's not so clear, as you can see in the southeastern United States, where that big blue H is or that high pressure system is. But we are still dealing with the surface this high pressure system is pretty much labeled for the surface here. In the upper levels, you are watching these these clouds and a bit of some moisture move in from the north. But at the surface, we are dealing with southerly winds for today, and you may be able to see it if we zoom in here towards the Arklatex. As you can see, towards Shreveport, Bossier, and around the Arklatex region, you may start to see, if you look very closely, you may start to see winds moving in from the south here. But that's what we're going to be dealing with throughout the daytime hours for today. Here's a look at where temperatures are as of right now, by the way. Around 52 for Shreveport, same thing for Minden, Magnolia, and Bienville sitting at around 54 degrees, 51 by Texarkana, still in the 40s up there by DeQueen, and we're already in the upper 50s by Carthage and Mansfield. We still have a long way to go in terms of where these temperatures may be maximizing at, but as you can see, wind direction and speed right now at the surface is coming all from the south for the most part here outside of DeQueen, dealing with calm winds and variable winds. Same thing for Bienville, but everywhere else around the Arklatex is dealing with southerly winds, just as I had mentioned before. We're dealing with southerly winds in the southern portions or the lower portions of the atmosphere near the surface, but in the upper levels, we're dealing with northerly winds here. So it's a bit cooler up there in the higher portions of the atmosphere, not so much here in the southern portions here, but we're dealing with winds at around 18 miles per hour near Mansfield. Calm winds by Bienville, 10 miles per hour winds near Shreveport, and dealing with winds upwards of 15 miles per hour near Mount Pleasant, Longview, and Marshall here. So dealing with windy conditions as of right now, let's take a look at wind gusts here. We've seen a wind gust at around 18 miles per hour near Shreveport, 24 mile per hour wind gusts near Mansfield, 26 mile per hour wind gusts near Mount Pleasant. And as you can see, over to our west, we are dealing with much windier conditions out there near the Dallas-Fort Worth area and areas just south of there as well. And let's see if this has an effect on our feels-like temperatures out there. Not much of an effect, as you can see. Feels-like temperatures are very close to actual temperatures, if you remember where they stood before, mainly in the lower 50s by Shreveport, upper 50s by Mansfield, and right by that Louisiana-Texas line south of I-20 there. But taking a look at future track, as you can see, we will be dealing with winds coming out of the south through today and maybe a bit of some cloud cover moving in as well. But at the upper levels, these clouds will be moving in from the north, still dealing with southerly winds from the south and near the surface here. That's going to still allow for temperatures to rise well into the 70s, some areas, and into the upper 60s in other areas here. But we should see a bit more cloudy conditions heading into the daytime hours for our Wednesday. And as you can see in your far top right corner of your screen, that's a little bit of some rainfall associated with that low pressure system set to arrive as we move into our Thursday, bringing us a couple isolated showers or two. Here's a look at our highs for today around the region. We're looking at the upper 60s and lower 70s, just as mentioned before. 70 by Shreveport, 71 for Texarkana, 66 by Homer, 69 for Coshada, 68 by Mansfield, Manny, and Natchitoches, around 69 degrees. More than likely seeing the lower 70s over in East Texas, Northeast Texas, outside of Shreveport, Texarkana, and on the Arkansas side as well, and Nacogdoches as well in southeastern Texas could also see temperatures in the lower 70s by the middle of this afternoon. But for the next 5 days, we can expect these temperatures to at least rise here as we move through today and tomorrow, but we could see a slight decrease in temperatures here, as you can see of the latest update on our forecast. Temperatures only drop to the mid and upper 70s heading into our Thursday, lower to mid 70s heading into Friday here. That's after that cold front finally moves through the Arklatex, and that could bring us a cooler cooler morning once again, but we aren't expecting any freezing mornings anymore at least in the next 5 days and maybe even through the next 7 days as well. But we should see a nice and warm weekend as we move into the end of the week, obviously. It's nice and warm weekend is expected with mostly sunny skies, I would say. Here's a look at our full 7-day forecast. As of the latest updates, we've wiped off our rain chances for this weekend, so it's nice and comfortable and nice and spring-like conditions are on the way for our weekend that's coming up. Heading into our Wednesday and Thursday here. Actually, I'm going to go to our different 7-day forecast, which includes today here. So here's a look at your 7-day forecast once again, including today. That shows that we shouldn't deal with any rain chances for the daytime hours today. Maybe a slight chance for rain heading into our Wednesday, but nothing much to bring that umbrella out. I wouldn't say that you need it per se. You might want to keep it just in case, though. But more than likely, you won't need the umbrella as we move through the daytime hours on Wednesday. Temperatures boost once again from the 70s into the 80s and upper 70s out there for Wednesday afternoon. Slight cool down is expected heading into Thursday due to that low pressure system and our next weather maker rolling through. And that should bring even slightly cooler conditions heading into our Friday. And that should drop low temperatures into the 50s and 40s. So a bit chilly out there as you're waking up on your Friday and Saturday morning. Back into the 80s we go heading into the weekend as we move into the new work week, though. Temperatures may start to decrease a little bit once more, but not much of a drastic cool down as what we were forecasting for yesterday. We should see the upper 70s and potentially the lower 80s across the region here. So thank you guys once again for tuning into today's episode. Tomorrow, Weather Trivia is back, and we're going to be testing out the you all's knowledge on what we just talked about today, as well as one of our KSLA team members here. So make sure to tune into that episode for tomorrow. Starting to stream at exactly 10:30 a.m. We're also going to be streaming here on YouTube, on Facebook, and on the KSLA News 12 app. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will not be on air for today, but you can catch meteorologist Jake Lambright as well as meteorologist Matt Jones on KSLA News 12 at noon and 4. That's for meteorologist Jake Lambright, and Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones should be in later on today during the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 p.m. shows later on tonight. Once again, have a great rest of your day, and thank you all for tuning into today's episode.